the show they put on.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be honest. But I'm glad to see that some things we got right.
We did get a few predictions, didn't we? I felt the show it was a lot better than it probably had any right to be, given the lackluster build-up that it had.
Yeah, I mean the weeks of Raw beforehand, I mean, was some of it was good, but other bits were just too sort of rushed. And I'll come on to that when I review the matches. But overall, it didn't make me as excited as they should have been.
No, it was either too rushed or too forced in some cases.
I mean, I will say the event proved me wrong in all ways.
Yeah, and I'm always glad when it actually does manage to prove us wrong.
Yeah, because I mean the last few years really, you sort of look forward to it and it just doesn't deliver.
No.
Well, I'm glad to say this did.
Right, so we'll get right into it. So the first match, which was on the kickoff show, or the pre-show, is that what you prefer to call it?
Really, I must admit, really did my head in waiting for the first match to start.
Oh no, it's a 2-hour pre-show. It was just talk for the first hour and nothing but plugs about the WWE Network.
And just build-ups to the matches that you've seen dozens of times on Raw anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and they had shameless plugs for new shows as well.
Yeah, it was just that there shouldn't have been actually. It should have just been an hour of pre-show. They wanted to be. Yeah. They insisted on having a pre-show.
Far too long. But anyway, the first match was the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championships. Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, the Usos, Los Matadores, and the New Day.
Now this match, I mean, I always thought this match was going to be good, but I still say, like I said before, that it was a travesty that it wasn't on the main show.
You would think this probably would have been a good way to kick off the main show.
I mean, when you look at what was on the main card and you look at what's here, is anyone with any brain knows it should have been on the main card.
Should have been. Our prediction was Tyson Kidd and Cesaro to win, and that was one we did get right.
Yes. And I mean, the first thing I mentioned straight away when I first seen the match was how Kidd and Cesaro got the biggest pop when they entered the arena.
They got the only pop in the arena. Any other team that came out was just pretty much just silence.
And this is sort of just showing again what the generation's like now with the fans. I mean, they were the only heels, I think, in the match. I know the Los Matadores have sort of slowly sided with the bad side recently, but
that's probably because people are thinking they don't deserve a title shot.
They were the only full-blown heels in it, and they got the biggest cheer, which was just ridiculous, really.
Yeah, it just goes to show that they want to see the guys who can actually wrestle.
And I'd be surprised, really, if New Day lasts much longer, because it's obvious that no one wants them.
Nobody does, no.
Even when they first debuted, like, they were getting boos, and it's got progressively worse since.
Yeah.
I mean, when they were in the ring, they were saying New Day sucks.
Like I said, they do that quite frequently. They chant that, New Day sucks. But at least they're getting some reaction. If they were just going like that to silence, then you got a bit of a problem.
You know, I don't even think turning them heel will work either.
I thought they're heel already, judging by that.
I think they're just not wanted, and it was a mistake anyway with what was going on in America at the time.
Yeah.
It was bound to generate some sort of controversy, and I just don't think it's worked. It depends whether they want to, like, the higher up people want to admit defeat and just abandon it. But they'll probably stick with it for a few more months yet. But I hope they do abandon.
I think they should. Anything specific that pops out of this match was, the only crowd reaction was Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, and it looked like Jey Uso was taken out of the match pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, he was meant to have like a long-standing injury beforehand, wasn't he? So I think that might have just been a way to sort of write him off the match quickly, rather than
he had some shoulder injury, didn't he?
Yeah, rather than risking getting injured more.
Mm.
But
Do you think that was a work, or do you think he may have actually?
I'm not sure.
Further
I'm
damage?
not sure, because he was meant to be injured before, wasn't he? But you just never know. I mean, I'd like to say it was a work, but you can never be sure.
No.
I did find it silly that the other one sort of tried to sort of compete on his own, because part of it was there trying to make you believe that they were going to do the unthinkable when he was going to win it on his own.
Do you think it would probably be better if the Usos was just sort of forfeited the match and just made it a triple threat?
Yeah, I think so, because it doesn't work with one.
Not
in
really.
That sort of match.
That's probably what they should have done. One thing they did that was pretty nice was Cesaro and Kidd. They put off a giant swing and dropkick combination. That seems to be pretty cool.
This is one of their signature tag team moves that I really like. And it's good to see that teams are doing that nowadays, because you don't see it enough nowadays.
It gives Cesaro the chance to do the giant swing, which everybody loves anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they even loved it when he was like on his own, so now he's doing it with someone else as a combo.
I still find it funny. It's a big baby face move, and they're supposed to be a heel team.
Yeah, it's just, again, it just shows how fans like who they want now. It doesn't. Yeah. They don't care who the higher up want to make them as faces, or they'll like who they feel like, and they'll hate who they feel like.
Yeah.
No matter what, if they're meant to be the superheroes or not.
No, that's very true. Kofi Kingston leaves on the top rope to the outside, which I thought was pretty cool. Cesaro suplexes Big E from the ring apron into the ring. Now that was impressive.
I must admit, I was sat there sort of really glad to see that, because that takes some strength.
That was an impressive feature. Big E's what?
He must be 280, 290 pounds.
Close to 300 pounds at least.
And he done it with relative ease.
Yeah. That was just amazing. And Natalia puts the sharpshooter on El Torito.
I did find that amusing.
It was amusing. I think the crowd got sort of amused as well, because they seemed to give it a big cheer.
Yeah, it was kind of stupid the week before where El Torito actually pinned her. I don't know whether you saw
that was just degrading.
I mean, but
give Divas a chance, by the way.
But it's just, I like El Torito, but he's like, I think that's past now. I think it's just something that's been used for so long now, and it's
outdated.
It's just not funny anymore.
No.
It was funny when he was getting the better of people like Heath Slater and Hornswoggle, but
that's because no one cares about those.
But it's just.
But he's getting wins over like Natalia, which people actually do like.
But really, that's just pushing it too far in my book.
It's annoying because Natalia can actually wrestle.
Yeah, and they're making it look like she's sort of a inexperienced sort of nobody.
It's stupid. Cesaro and Big E electric chair the Los Matadores, who in turn superplexes Kofi Kingston and Tyson Kidd.
Yeah, the old Tower of Doom, which is used in near enough every triple threat or four-way.
It's always used in this sort of environments, but I always find it's always impressive to see.
Yeah, it does always look chaotic, and it looks quite devastating, to be fair.
Overall, there was pretty much everybody flying around there all over the place during this entire match.
And that's what says to me again that they should have known to put that match on the main card.
Yeah, it would have been a good way to kick off the main show.
Yeah, because it was easily, obviously we'll come on to them, but it was easily a lot better than some of the matches that were on.
It was, yeah. We'll get to them. We'll get to them soon. So Cesaro pins Big E for the win. So we got at least this one right.
I must admit, I didn't really like the finish where it was just a matter of Cesaro stealing the pin from the Uso splash.
He sort of tagged himself in at the last second.
Yeah, but they could have made it a proper sort of move that Kidd and Cesaro did. But overall, I was glad they retained, and it was a really, really entertaining, good match.
It was a good match to start off the show, even if it was just on the kickoff show. And
just to throw in there, it's always amusing when you see Kidd and Cesaro wearing headphones, I think, at the start.
I've got no comment for that.
I don't know why, but I just find it amusing.
So, moving on to the next match, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and oh my good god, what a big, this was one big clusterfuck.
To me, when you look at the fact that I think it's a mistake first that everyone starts in the ring at the same time, because you look in that ring at the start and there's just no one can move.
This should have been one of the easiest matches to book.
Yeah, so no one can sort of no one does anything impressive for ages. They're just sort of just giving each other punches and stuff like that. And
that's like all Battle Royals. I've never been a big fan of Battle
Royals.
And
then a few of the people that are never going to win it get thrown over the top rope straight away.
Oh, there's quite a few of those, like such as Curtis Axel, the way he won the
This whole thing with Axel Mania and whatever is going on, I find it amusing, but how degrading
it was amusing at first. It was like, just fucking end it. You had your little moment in the limelight where you see, I was never eliminated in the Royal Rumble. You had that, and you've been thrown over the top rope like 2 or 3 times. Just give it a rest.
Why are they doing this? I mean, they went from making him with Paul Heyman and making him actually do something to giving him this stupid gimmick where he's just going to go nowhere with. He's just a comedy act.
That's probably why he's doing it, because he knows he's not going to get anywhere.
I mean, because he's not going to. I mean, look at what he's done recently. I mean, that's easier. People keep beating him. Like, he's basically a jobber with a funny gimmick.
Yeah, and not even a half funny one at that.
No, I mean, he's getting better with his promos. I give him that, but it's just not. I think this is what it's all about. It's about because he was rubbish at promos before.
Yeah.
When he was with Paul Heyman, Paul Heyman done all his speaking for him. But I think it's a way of getting him over with the promos, but it's just not working because people are laughing at it, but it's you don't watch wrestling to laugh at them sort of silly things.
You're not supposed to, no.
And it's just another reason of one of the WWE's bad points at the moment.
What else we got? Hideo Itami is eliminated by The Big Show.
Yeah, I mean, how good was it to see him in there? I mean,
yeah, for as long as he lasted.
But yeah, it was also an insult because they just made it look stupid that it was no point in being in there anyway because they put him against The Big Show straight away.
Absolutely.
And basically let The Big Show squash him.
I don't know. Did Tommy get any chance from the crowd?
Yeah, I think they sort of cheered initially, didn't they?
They cheered for him, yeah.
The little time he was in the match.
Yeah.
But then he was just like the Big Show just basically squashed him and made him look silly.
Of all people to eliminate him,
yeah.
Probably the one guy everybody. He was one of the few people actually wanted to win.
Yeah, I mean everyone.
As it would have given an NXT style a good jump.
And everyone, if anyone knows who he, what he's done and who he is, they know what he's capable of. But
yeah.
It's just, I'm not expecting him to jump up straight away. I mean, he's only been in it since September. So I'm not expecting him to make like huge waves yet. But to me, it didn't make him look good on WrestleMania, and then the Big Show just. I know the Big Show is a lot bigger, but it just doesn't do anything for his cred to throw never the rope back. They should have made him sort of last time a bit longer.
They should have.
If the Big Show was going to eliminate him, they should have done it a lot later on into the match. So he could have eliminated a few smaller established people to make sort of a bit of a name for himself first. Yeah,
that would have helped. Ryback eliminates the Ascension.
Yeah, I mean Ryback. I know he's got his critics, but I like him to an extent. He's a bit boring because all he ever seems to do is clotheslines and shoulder blocks and stuff like that. And he
somewhat limited in his moveset.
Yeah, I mean, but there's a lot of people like that. Let's face it. He's likeable, but after you've seen one of his matches, you've seen them all. There's not much difference in them.
Yeah.
It's just the overwhelming power, and that's it.
He was one of the favourites to win this.
Yeah, I thought he had a good chance of winning it.
The New Day attempt to eliminate the Big Show and end up getting eliminated themselves.
Which I actually did laugh at.
It just goes to show that even the WWE don't think much of the New Day.
And that shows that how struggling they were for people to win that thing. They put superstars in there that had already wrestled in the tag team match.
All the teams were there, weren't they?
Yeah, which I was quite surprised. Why would they bother going? You wouldn't think they'd be in it, would you? When they've just been in the tag title match.
Either says to me they were desperate to get as many people as they could on the WrestleMania card, or they just go to show their talent roster is not as large as they like it to be.
Yeah, it's very dwindling. Whereas years ago there was a lot more people in it, especially in like the 80s and early 90s.
That's very true. The crowd chants "Let's go Mizdow" throughout the match, which is actually who we actually predicted to win.
I did think that was going to come when he sort of fell out with the Miz and he eliminated him. I thought he was going to get the upset of the Big Show.
Yeah, which probably what should have happened. Cesaro eliminates Kane, which was a plus for the crowd as they cheered it.
Yeah, and then he nearly done the same that he did last year to the Big Show.
He lifted him up in the same vein and hopefully trying to slam him out of the ring, shades of last year, and Big Show says basically fuck off. And
what I found more incredible about that is you see when he lifts him up, it doesn't even look like he's like really sort of struggling when he body slammed him, which is quite scary.
Big Show's like 420 pounds.
Yeah, and Cesaro's only what 240, 250.
Yeah. And
you look at him and you wouldn't think he'd be able to sort of slam that sort of weight. I mean, it was a big thing when Hogan slammed Andre the Giant all them years ago.
Still a classic.
And Hogan was a lot bigger than what Cesaro is.
Yeah.
And now he's just doing it not effortlessly, but he doesn't look like he's struggling.
No.
Whereas a lot of them do. I mean, I remember when Cena used to pick up the Big Show years ago for the thing. He looked like he had to sort of get rid of him straight away because of the weight.
He looked like he was really struggling just to hold him up.
Whereas Cesaro looks like he could sort of slam him, carry him most of the way in the ring and get him out.
That's scary. It's eliminated by the Big Show, which is stupid, and then Big Show eliminates Ryback. Again, it's degrading.
I think that's what gave me the indication the Big Show was going to win.
It should have given me the indication, but I thought maybe the WWE is going to be smarter than this. And then the Big Show, Miz and Miz are the last three, and then the Miz is eliminated by the Miz down, gets a huge pop from the crowd.
Yeah.
It was a long time coming in, it should have happened, but again, this feud should have culminated WrestleMania in an actual match between the two.
Rather than just falling out like that. Yeah. And I did find it amazing that the Big Show was just stood there doing nothing while they were there arguing.
Just Gordon was thinking, ooh, what are they arguing about?
Yeah, I think that was stupid, to be fair, because it just wouldn't happen in a battle royal normally.
No.
Normally, as soon as someone's back was turned, they'd have been turfing them out over the top rope.
So you know that these two are going to build up for another month to Extreme Rules.
Yeah, so they'll probably have a match there.
It's just bloody stupid. After how much he's gotten over with the crowd, I think he deserved at least to have a WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, rather than just arguing with the Miz and getting dumped over the rope by the Big Show.
Yeah. So yeah, we called this one wrong. Mizdow, he tried avoiding elimination. There was a spot where it's sort of reminiscent of Shawn Michaels from the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, where he done the hang on
and then flipped over.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty neat, but no, they went back on what should have been an easy finish with the Mizdow. That's what I liked. The Mizdow had his moment at WrestleMania. I would have preferred him to revert back to his old gimmick at this point and run as a babyface.
Yeah, I think he'd work well. He's meant to be a heel and he's already over, so
yeah,
he could work well now. I think he will.
He'll definitely get a big babyface run because there's no way they're going to boo him after this.
And it'll be a lot better than he was before with his like sort of Scholler gimmick.
Yeah,
because that to me that bored me.
It would work. I think that's about it for this one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean the Big Show ends up winning it, and then like they release a stat which I must admit I didn't even know that. The Big Show's never won a Battle Royal in his career.
No.
Which I was quite shocked about, which is probably the reason he got the win.
That just felt like something that they just sort of threw in at the last minute.
You know, I must admit, it did look suit him when the Big Show had, like when he was stood next to the trophy, that did look quite good.
Yeah. Which is probably the only reason they wanted to do it for, is just to get that one shot next to Andre the Giant statue.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, I was shocked when I heard that he hadn't won a Battle Royal, you know, a man of that size. Even in like WCW and stuff like that.
Absolutely great.
And now obviously they can work that start off because he has.
Yeah, but I'd have still preferred Mizdow.
I still can't see him going that far in the company anymore. I think he is just going to be like.
Do you think that people saying this might be a sign that he's going to retire this year? And therefore they give him one last big win.
Because I don't think he's going to be anywhere in the world title picture anymore.
Not at this point.
I can't see it. He's had his time in that and like, on and off, and I can't see it. I mean, he's got to be the wrestler that's turned the most. To be fair. Well,
I don't even know. What is he supposed to be at this point?
I think he's a heel, isn't he? Because he's with the Authority, but he's like...
So he turns so often, he just can't keep track.
In the last few years, he's probably been the wrestler that's turned the most out of anyone.
Freaking great.
I mean, he's probably turned 4 or 5 times in the last 3 or 4 years.
So there you go. No wonder nobody can keep track.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that one. Then we go to the actual show. It kicks off with the Intercontinental Championship ladder match between Bad News Barrett, Dean Ambrose, R-Truth, Luke Harper, Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan and Stardust. And this is again one that we both called wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think this match was that great, if I'm perfectly honest.
Really?
For a ladder match, it just didn't have like the amount of impressive spots I didn't think that you expect from a ladder match. I mean, it had the bit with Ambrose getting powerbombed through a ladder, which he's took loads of times before. And we've seen loads of times in ladder matches before.
Yeah.
AKA Sheamus getting injured.
Mm.
And I mean, I know Truth done sort of a little dive over the rope first, which is quite impressive. But apart from that, there weren't much to do with the ladders, was there? When you look at it, it was mostly like just getting up on them and sort of smacking each other. And to me, it just didn't have enough for me. It was a decent match.
Point, yeah.
It was a decent match, but it didn't have the highlights that past ladder matches at WrestleMania have.
No, that's very true.
Like years gone by with John Morrison doing a moonsault with the ladder.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that one, and that was amazing.
And so, to me, it just didn't have enough standout moments.
No.
I was glad Daniel Bryan won. Obviously, it weren't the outcome we thought of.
No, but it was we did say it was the logical choice was to have Daniel Bryan win.
Yeah, and I was glad because it made more sense to have him win than but it sort of also adds in the fact that they're sort of giving him a consolation prize, or we're taking you out of the world title picture.
Yeah.
But we'll give you the Intercontinental title.
Yeah,
which is a bit of a slap in the face, isn't it?
It's pretty much them saying, no, we're going to give you this cursed belt because let's face it, the Intercontinental belt is cursed.
Yeah, it's like it just doesn't make sense because he was like the main world title contender for a couple of years, and then they give him the title that's meant to push you on to the world title.
Yeah.
Which sort of doesn't make sense in itself.
It's almost.
But it was good to see that he's finally getting sort of some thing from all his sort of being beat down he's had and all the crap he's had the last few.
So at the very least, this will bring some prestige to the Intercontinental belt because this is what they're obviously planning is to try and build it back up, and having Daniel Bryan be the holder of it is certainly going to help.
Yeah, and I mean I did like it, like the interview he had after the match where you had like the past Intercontinental champions coming up to him was quite a nice touch, I thought.
Yeah.
And you know, some of the good ones like Bret Hart and obviously Pat Patterson, the first ever champion. I did like that part.
Obviously, just again to build further prestige of it and saying all these great guys have had this belt and now you're holding it. So,
but overall, I think it could have been so much better. I think.
Yeah.
And for me, they took Ambrose out of the match too early with that.
I think they did.
Because I mean it looked like it was quite dangerous, that ladder, where his head went and hit that ladder.
That did look very painful.
I think it was Luke Harper.
Luke Harper, yeah, just sort of powerbombed him over the top rope.
I mean, I know he's been through worse in his career in past promotions, but it didn't look. It looked like it could injure him.
Yeah.
And to me, it weren't well done.
It did look like it hurt probably a lot more than it should have done.
Yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much took him out of the match, didn't it?
Mm.
So to me, it ended his interest in it too early for me.
Yeah. I know you had Dean Ambrose to win this.
Yeah, and I was sort of annoyed because I knew after that happened that he wouldn't be sort of in the mix anymore.
I was way off of this because I had Bad News Barrett going to retain it because I thought I wanted Daniel Bryan to win because logically he should have done, but I just thought no, I just didn't trust WWE to go down that route and probably have Bad News Barrett pull a swerve to make up for this losing streak he's been on, and just thought maybe we'll fuck over Daniel Bryan again.
Yeah, but I think they are. I think they've done it purposely to encounter Sheamus's return.
I was expecting him to make an appearance at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I thought he would screw Bryan out of it. I thought he would have pulled him off the ladder or something like that, just to set up a normal one-on-one feud with him first.
Because everyone was predicting he was going to come back as a heel,
and which he has.
Yeah, which we'll get to that.
But yeah, I mean overall, the wrestlers in it did a good job, but it was, to me, it could have been so much more. And I personally think the tag team match entertained me more than that did.
I think that's fairly true, but it was a decent match overall.
Yeah, it wasn't completely poor. There was stuff in it to make you want to watch it, and it didn't last long enough for me either.
No.
I mean, I think the tag team title match lasted longer than what the ladder match did.
Probably did.
So, and that shouldn't really happen, should it?
No.
I mean, it didn't compare to past ladder matches to me.
That's true. The only other notable spots. So Stardust missile drop kicks the ladder, knocking over Ziggler and Ambrose, which I thought was a decent.
Yeah, there were some good parts in it, but I think a lot of it was done for me as the past ladder matches.
Yeah.
It just had a lot to live up to.
It did, and again, it just didn't really do that. And the crowd continues to chant Cody, which I'm guessing is going to sort of become a reoccurring theme here.
Yeah, until probably they finally get rid of the Stardust gimmick.
Which they really should do.
Which everyone's bored of.
It
sort of worked when he was teaming with Goldust, but now he's on his own. It just
now he's on his own. It doesn't work. When he was with Goldust, yeah, that was fine. But no, I think we've had enough of that sort of gimmick already.
Yeah, then like I said before in the last video, I mean, we've seen that 20 years ago when Goldust first debuted.
Yeah.
And it's nothing different.
It's not, no. I think that's about it. But the way it finished was Bryan and Ziggler exchanging blows on the top of the ladder with the crowd cheering for both.
Yeah.
Which says to me that they're probably gonna build up this summer-long feud between the both of them, and it's gonna cultivate at SummerSlam perhaps.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. There's probably a title match at SummerSlam with them.
Probably. Is there anything else you want to add to that one?
No, I think I've covered the main points, but I hope that it just doesn't sort of push Daniel Bryan down the thing forever, which I can see at the moment.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't, no disrespect to Ziggler and people like Sheamus, but I hope it doesn't just develop in them on the undercard all the time.
That's true.
Rather than, because Sheamus is decent and so is Ziggler, they should be more up there than what they're being portrayed at the moment.
I think that's true, and it's just we've actually heard that Daniel Bryan does get back in the world title picture at some point.
Because I hope they don't put Randy Orton in there again, if I'm honest. I know all these rumours keep coming out, and we'll go on to that, but
yeah.
Again, like John Cena, he's had his time in it. Give people like Ziggler a chance for a long time in it.
Absolutely.
How many pay-per-view matches have Cena and Orton had that have been for the world titles? Dozens. Ziggler, he had the title for about a month.
If that.
And then they straight away, it don't make sense. Give the younger people more than the people that we've seen for years and years and years.
Exactly, that's what people want. They want these other guys to be in the main event.
They claim they try to give people what they want, and clearly they don't.
No. Let's move on. The next one, Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. This is one we did call, right?
I mean, yeah, this is. I mean, everyone knows I've never really been the biggest fan of Randy Orton.
He has got the most boring character.
I mean, yeah, as you say, he's had the same virtual character ever since he's been in it.
Yeah.
Underlying. I mean, I know he had the Legend Killer gimmick and all that at first.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he's decent, but I just never really get excited watching his matches.
No, I mean, he's from an in-ring worker, he's great and all.
Yeah, he's solid.
Can't fault him on there.
How can I describe it? It's like, he's solid, but he's not spectacular.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It's a sort of 50-50. He's good. He's great to watch, but then he's not great to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think going against Seth Rollins did help him because it did make him look a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, easily, I don't want to come on to that straight away, but the highlight of the match for me was the ending.
The finish was.
Yeah, the how they performed that RKO was good.
That was definitely true. Randy Orton, there was a point where he no-sold a powerbomb to the turnbuckle that Seth Rollins does.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's
sort of
like
threw him in there and just like what? And
that's one of Seth Rollins' signature moves as well. You know, and you think he'd act a lot more damage from that. You know?
Well, you think he'd have gone down from that, and he just said, "Fuck this! I'm knocking you down."
Yeah, and I bet really Rollins didn't like that. If like the truth was known.
I don't know what happened there. I just don't know if Randy Orton just refused to sell that move or.
And I was annoyed. I mean, I've got to be honest that sort of Seth went for the Phoenix Splash again, and he didn't. Because obviously Randy Orton moved out of the way, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he like sort of cancelled it in the end and rolled through it.
That was still impressive.
I think everyone wanted to see it again.
Yeah.
As soon as he sort of went up there, everyone knew what was going to come, didn't they?
But the fact that he managed to sort of counter his own failed attempt was still amazing to see. But that was just really good.
That's one thing that I don't like about how since Seth Rollins has been with the Authority and stuff like that. He just nowhere near performs a lot of those moves he used to.
No.
I mean, look at when he was with the Shield. How many like sort of dives over the top rope did he do, and sort of those pianchas over the ropes and stuff like that?
It was ridiculous.
I mean, I remember watching one when they were in their feud with the Wyatt family. I don't know whether you saw it.
Oh yes.
Where he basically done like dives over both sides within like a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Which was fucking incredible. Like how fast he done. He landed so cleanly from them as well.
I think that's the point, because that's more of a babyface thing to do, and he's meant to be the top heel.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes away. So because he always done that, even in his past career.
Yeah. Those
sort of moves. And even if you watch his, like I watched his first ever debut match for what's now NXT when it was FCW.
Mm.
I think he was against Vance Archer, who used to be Lance Hoyt in TNA. But yeah, I mean, he done like a similar sort of dive over the rope, like close to the turnbuckle, and he landed like standing up. It was fucking amazing. But you want to see him do that sort of thing now.
We do want to see him more, but
since he's the top heel, he's just not going to do it.
No, which is sort of annoying. He's only going to do that sort of thing
to get a decent crowd reaction.
On decent occasions, just to get
like he started doing the Phoenix Splash finally.
Yeah.
Because he's done that like throughout his career, but I don't think he ever did it with the Shield.
Not that I know of.
Not that I can recall.
No.
I can still remember seeing the most cleanly landed one I ever see him do was when he done it on Daniel Bryan back in, I think it was in ROH. You can still see the video online now where he does it. The crowd reaction it gets is just amazing. If he does it in WWE, it should get the same reaction.
It would. Any other notable spots? And double DDT's J&J security on the outside.
I did find that quite abusive because they were just out. After that, they were just totally flat out.
They just weren't getting up from that.
And I do find it amusing that they're supposed to be a security thing and they just get taken out so easily.
J&J security are essentially, let's face it, they are essentially to Seth Rollins what Pat Patterson and
Joe Briscoe was
back in the day.
But it's quite, in itself, it's quite sort of degrading because I know he never really got a decent run in WWE, but Jamie Noble, I mean, I don't know whether you sort of...
I remember watching some of his matches back then.
I mean, I remember watching him in ROH under his real name, and he was like an ROH World Champion. And he had a feud with Samoa Joe, so that shows how the ability he has.
He did know how to wrestle. He was pretty good for high flying and stuff.
I mean, there's not many people that you have to be good to be ROH World Champion.
Yeah.
There's not many that get recognised that aren't, So that shows that I know he's like semi-retired now, and he's had It was actually Sheamus that retired him. I don't know if anyone actually realises that.
I didn't know.
It was Sheamus that forced him to retire because he botched a powerbomb on the outside.
I know. I remember he's supposed to be retired because of an injury.
Yeah, it was a back injury. When do you remember when Sheamus debuted as a heel when he first came?
Yeah.
I think it was shortly before he fought John Cena at the TLC pay-per-view.
Right.
He attacked Jamie Noble after a match when Jamie Noble was still active, and he powerbombed him on the outside.
Oh.
And that just done his spine in, so he can't fully wrestle anymore. Hence why he's just on the outside.
Yeah.
But
it's a real shame. It's always always a shame to see them do that.
It's another one of those classic things of the WWE sort of thinking everyone's ignorant and not knowing what he's done outside of the WWE. Everyone in the WWE just probably thinks, oh, he's crap, useless.
Yeah.
Undercard sort of stooge that can't do anything.
They always think, oh, you don't watch any other federation. You watch mine. You watch mine.
Yeah, hence what they done with Daniel Bryan when he came into the WWE, where they were trying to make you believe he was this rookie from hadn't wrestled a match in his career, whereas everyone knows he had been in Japan and ROH for years and had some of the best feuds with some of the best wrestlers in the world.
I don't know why they do it for, but it just really degrades them.
But yeah, I mean, then Mercury, again, that's a bit silly because everyone knows that he was in the WWE before with the tag team.
Yeah.
With Johnny Nitro or John Morrison, whatever you want to call it.
Mm.
And now they're trying to make him look like he hasn't done nothing in his life, sort of thing. So it's just a lot of it's just ignorance, and it shows that probably it's coming out to a new set of fans now that probably didn't watch back then.
Yeah.
It's probably a whole new generation now from when he was 10 years ago when he was with Nitro.
Bloody hell.
So yeah, that's probably, I think it is another example of the new generation of people that watch it.
That's probably true. Any other things? Seth Rollins leaps through the ropes almost onto the outs table, which I thought was a nice dive.
Yeah, didn't he do a moonsault as well, if I remember?
Yeah, springboard moonsault to the outside, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often he does that, is it?
No.
I can't remember him doing a springboard moonsault any time. So it's nice to see that he pulls out sort of unexpected things in his pay-per-view matches that you don't expect. Because, I mean, no one expected the Phoenix Splash at the Royal Rumble, did they?
No, and that was a nice surprise.
So it's good. So that's what makes his matches worth watching.
You never know what he's going to pull out.
Yeah.
That is what makes him really good to watch.
I mean, yeah, we all know we got it right with Randy Orton winning, but we know why now. We'll come back to that. But yeah, the finish to the match was so well done, I think.
Yeah. Orton Seth Rollins attempts a curb stomp, and then he leaps up much higher. As soon as you saw him leap off, you knew what they were setting up for.
Yeah.
And he and Randy Orton just counters it into an RKO, which was.
I will say that. I mean, Randy Orton he can catch some RKOs in good positions, can't he?
It was
like when he catches them jumping off the top rope into it, sort of thing.
It does.
It does look impressive.
It does look impressive. Yeah, it's RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean everyone knows about that. But
yeah, we all know about that.
But it's just I was annoyed sort of Seth Rollins lost, but then I weren't because it came true of what I was hoping for later on. But
we did see Randy Orton winning.
It was a solid match with some really good sort of added extras in it that you didn't expect. I'd say.
Seth Rollins was definitely the better performer.
Yeah, he makes Randy Orton look a lot better, I think.
Yeah.
And if I was Randy Orton, I'd sort of like going against him any day of the week.
Yeah.
Because he improves what he looks like. Which is quite shocking when Seth Rollins is about 8 years younger than Randy Orton.
But overall, it was a good match.
Yeah, very good match.
Indeed. Next person called Sting versus Triple H. This was the low point for me.
Yeah, it could have been it could have been so much more than they made it.
This was a point where I was actually tempted to switch off at this point.
To me, the match was where they're both quite sort of in their sort of twilight years now. It had not many sort of standout moves in it. No. It was mostly just...
I'm going into this, I was not expecting this to be a good match.
It was just mostly a fist brawl with a couple of sort of old classic moves they used to do.
Yeah.
And of course, we've got to come on to it. I didn't understand why they had to have interference in it.
And it was probably because, they just couldn't handle it at their age.
Yeah, and I mean, my initial thought was when DX come out and... I must admit, that did give me the feeling that Shawn Michaels was going to turn up because obviously he was missing from the others that run down to the ring.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand why the NWO came out. Because I know they're trying to classify it as it was meant to be the Monday Night Wars going at it again.
This was what really bothered me. Initially, the storyline was supposed to be Sting going up against Triple H, because he was abusing his power. He wanted to take down the authority, but then it just sort of the last couple of weeks it just sort of reshaped into a revival of the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah, but
what the hell?
It didn't really make sense, did it? Because you look at it like, if you look at it from a WCW point of view, why would the NWO help Sting?
That really bothered me.
The NWO were always against Sting.
Sting was the biggest enemy to the NWO. The NWO would never have helped him.
So why would they want to save WCW? The NWO took over.
Exactly. That the whole point of them was they wanted to bring down WCW from inside out.
To me, that was just unthought out. That whole concept.
It seemed like it was a rushed concept, and they just wanted just an excuse to have them on there.
Yeah, just to get the pop from the crowd.
They did get. To be fair, they did get a decent pop from the crowd.
But how sad was it to see what Scott Hall looks like now? I mean, he looks in so much. He's so much worse shape than what Nash does, and.
We can't blame him for that, because that's what's going to happen with age and injuries.
Yeah, I know he's had his problems with drugs and alcohol, but it's just he looks so much more incapable of performing a match now than what sort of Nash does.
I was under the impression that Nash may have actually re-injured himself during this match.
Yeah,
I'm sure there was a point where it looked like he was sort of holding his quads after some sort of split.
Yeah, because he's had notorious injuries.
Yeah, oh god, don't tell me he's injured himself again.
Yeah, the last sort of 10 years he's had notorious injuries.
Yeah. Sting and Triple H had this special entrance, which, frankly, I just thought was absolutely unnecessary.
Oh, what, the Terminator entrance?
Yeah, and I get why they're doing that, just to promote the new Terminator movie, but fuck me, did it look stupid.
Triple H
didn't look like any nowhere near as good as his old entrances did from like WrestleMania 27 or something.
Was that where he had like the king sat on the throne thing?
No, that was 22. I think he did that one.
Yeah.
The 27 one was where he had the gladiators walk. It's all.
Who was he fighting at 27?
Yeah, especially the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good entrance, but this one.
Yeah, it's just a way of promoting Terminator.
That's all it was. Just the poor Terminator.
A poor plug, wasn't it?
Poor plug, yeah.
I mean, and to be honest, that's another thing. I mean, does anyone really care about Terminator anymore? I mean, I saw the first two movies, and that's all I needed to see. To be honest, I was disinterested after that.
We do not want to know about these movies in our wrestling ring.
And is Arnold Schwarzenegger ever going to go away in the Terminator movies? I think he's still in this new one.
I don't keep up with these films.
But I mean, I can see why it probably bringing the WWE some money and stuff like that. But it's, to bring it into a match which is meant to be so much of a magnitude, it was a mistake in my view.
It was. I noticed that it was going to be a no DQ match because Lynn Garcia made it a point of explaining to the crowd, this match must be won by a pinfall or submission. I was like, okay, why did you need to point that out? And then a couple of minutes later, it just clicked on me. I was like, it's an ODQ match.
I don't think it was ever announced.
It never was. I was like, when did this? I don't think this ever became an ODQ match at any point.
They didn't say beforehand it was going to be.
They never did. It was just like, okay, I guess they changed this all just before they started the show.
Obviously, they've done that purposely to make it more believable that the DX and NWO could interfere.
That was the only reason they did it for.
And I thought, the ending of the match was poor as well. They both took each other's finishers.
Yeah.
And kicked out. And then they ended it with like a sledgehammer to the head. Even though beforehand, Sting broke the sledgehammer.
I thought that was quite funny.
You know,
you could have got my sledgehammer.
Then you've got
Bitch,
then you've got to think that sort of how ridiculous does that make the sledgehammer look?
Yeah.
That just one sort of swipe from in the middle of the bat breaks it. Sort of brings the sort of genuineness of the sledgehammer into question, isn't it? But yeah, going for a Stinger splash in the corner and Triple H just countering with a sledgehammer shot and that's it.
Oh.
To me, it was they sort of thought of a way to end it quick in my book.
And that's what it was.
They got the reaction they wanted from DX versus the NWO, and that was it.
And that's pretty much what it was. Sting executes a drop kick, which I thought was quite shocking for his age.
It looked quite good, and it looked quite a good drop kick to be fair.
Yeah, give him credit for that one. I didn't think he pulled off a move like that.
I know people younger than him that can't do a drop kick like that.
Yeah. That spot that as you still got it chanting the crowd.
Yeah.
I will give Sting credit. He looked really good, really good shape.
Yeah, he did. For how I don't know how old he is.
He's 56. Yeah, and it's a fair play to him. He does look really good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can say Ric Flair went on to later than that, but when did Ric Flair ever do any sort of moves like that? He didn't.
He couldn't. No, not at that point.
So yeah, I will give Sting a lot of credit for that. He still can go. I think he's still got a few matches in him left. I think.
Yeah, I think he's still got at least another year. Sting leaps off the top turnbuckle onto the outside, which that was another thing that sort of surprised me. I didn't think he pulled that off.
He's usually known for it the last few years, but I didn't think he would do it now.
Not at his age, no.
But again, it generated a lot of reaction. It was good to see.
It was really good. There was a point where he no-sold a facebuster, which was quite funny, but I don't know why they did that for.
Yeah, I think it was the attempt to just make sort of Sting look sort of Hulk Hogan like, sort of superhuman.
Was there anything else? To get the sledgehammer, he wanted to believe was thwarted by Hogan, which doesn't surprise me. But I don't think there was anything else that really stood out with this match.
No, I think overall the interference ruined it.
No. HBK when he did interfere. Sweet chin using Sting.
The camera work was quite poor, wasn't it? When he entered the ring, you only knew because they were sort of saying, "Oh wait."
Yeah.
I think the camera was panned away when he got in the ring.
It was.
It only showed it just as he hit the kick, didn't it?
Yeah.
Which was quite poor.
It
didn't even show where he came from.
And that sort of gained a mixed reaction, which was sort of surprising. People were sort of booing him for it.
Yeah, because I mean, one thing I thought was like I thought about X-Pac really. When you look at it, they were.
That's a point.
X-Pac was in the NWO at one point.
Yeah.
And I know people don't want to remember it, and I'm sorry for bringing it up, but
oh god,
remember when Shawn Michaels was in the NWO?
Albeit briefly, yeah, but we remember.
So like,
this was a complete mess. It was like, why would X-Pac favour one side? It was like, oh, here comes my other stable. Should I go over there? I don't know. That probably would have been a bit more funny if he actually comes up with DX and then they come out and he's like, takes a shot, like, I'm with NWO.
Yeah, to me,
that would have probably got a decent reaction for
it.
It
didn't make sense, and I say that whole horrible thing of Shawn Michaels joining NWO for a short time.
No.
I can't remember when that was, 2002, 3?
About that. I think that's when the NWO sort of made their unsuccessful attempt at the WWE.
Yeah, was that when Hogan was with them?
Yeah.
When he fought The Rock at
WrestleMania? It was just after that, I think.
But, yeah, I mean, to me, it was... The whole interference was unnecessary, and it ruined what could have been a classic match.
Yeah. And, of course, Triple H actually wins, which we got it completely wrong. Why the hell did Triple H win?
Yeah, what reason did they have for him to win? I mean, surely it would have put Sting in a stronger position if he won.
Yeah.
To potentially
this could have been potentially Sting's one and only match, because it's still uncertain, and you have him lose?
Yeah.
All that build-up just to have him lose.
And then they sort of had the part at the end where they effectively ended the feud, didn't they?
Yeah.
They shook hands and stuff like that.
That makes no sense.
So
he was under the impression Sting hated him.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see any...
You're not going to see any repercussions from this, but... It's just a lousy finish, and Triple H should not have won.
No, silly. Yeah, to me, where he's not a full-time competitor anymore, he doesn't. All he's interested in now is being in the back.
Yeah.
He's not got many people he hasn't faced to have a match with, all bar one person, which we'll come on to.
Yeah.
But I just don't think Sting had more reason to win in my book.
This should have been a finish where you could not have possibly got wrong, but they did.
Yeah. Very much.
Fucking stupid.
So overall, I was really disappointed with that.
It was a disappointing match, but it was nice to see Sting in the WWE ring.
And he did perform well. He didn't really let it down.
He didn't let them down though. He did really good. But again, Sting should have easily won this. And frankly, this is basically the question: where's he going to go from here?
I think he'll probably be used like every so often to get people sort of maybe at a main event, sort of to get people excited, sort of thing. Or he'll tease different matches with people just to get people talking.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you'll ever see him wrestle again until possibly next year's WrestleMania.
Very probably. It just felt to me that this was probably Vince McMahon's doing. He's probably still holding a grudge over WCW after all this time. I was like, how fucking childish are you?
Yeah, because that's what everyone was saying, that they would never let someone that was so rivals with the company for years win on their main event.
No.
It'd be like letting sort of like someone top in the WWE win on Starrcade, which was WWE's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
They were saying that Vince just wouldn't let it happen.
No, and there's just another nail in WCW's
So
coffin.
I wouldn't be surprised if Vince had the final say on that outcome.
Definitely, and you think by now you think hang on, you've had WCW pretty much dead for about 14 years. Can't you just let it go?
Yeah, so I reckon, all due respect, I do reckon if Triple H had total control of that, he would probably let Sting win.
I think he would have, because he would have been smarter.
Because Triple H isn't afraid to put people over. I mean, look how many people he's put over in the
last
few years.
When was the last time he had actually had a victory on a pay-per-view?
He made Brock Lesnar look tough, didn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think, I honestly believe Vince had the final decision on that match.
Yeah.
And they just went along with it.
Fucking ridiculous. But I think, should we move on?
Oh, I'll just add one point in that I thought they could have added in. Maybe, I don't know whether he's too old to do much now or he's too busy doing other things, but I think they possibly could have had Shane McMahon interfere on Sting's part. Because remember the whole storyline of Shane buying WCW and he was in charge of the whole WCW invasion?
That would have been a nice angle, but it wouldn't. It's very unlikely because Shane was not been affiliated with the WWE for a few years, and I think that's the way he likes it.
Yeah.
He's doing his own business, and he just wants to say, "Look."
To me, it just would have been more believable because obviously
it would have been believable.
He was for the WCW back when he was supposedly bought it, but it would have been better than like the whole DX NWO interference.
It would have been.
It would have been an explosive way to bring him back.
It would have been an explosive way to bring him back to TV, and the crowd would probably went nuts if they'd seen him. They hadn't seen him in years.
They do love Shane, don't they? I mean,
Shane was one of those. Shane was a very entertaining guy when he was actually in the ring. I remember. I still remember that big match he had with Kurt Angle at King of the Ring. That was a fucking brilliant match.
Yeah, I mean,
he took a few bumps.
Yeah, he wasn't really a proper fully trained.
He wasn't
performer either.
No, but he took some big bumps.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of times he dived off the turnbuckle onto the tables, and the infamous time he dropped off the
scaffolding, that was about 50 feet. That was fucking crazy.
Yeah, so he's done some crazy stuff.
Yeah. But
I think he's past performing now.
He probably just doesn't want to be affiliated with the ring.
He's more business venture now, isn't he?
Kind of like what Vince's wife was doing. She's more politics and wants to distance herself from the way in the ring, which is fair enough. But, Anyway, what was the next match? The Divas Tag Team match. AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bella Twins.
To me, a match that shouldn't even have been on the main card, in my view. They could have easily replaced this with either the Battle Royal or the tag team
they have to get a Divas match on there somewhere because they just have to.
I mean, to me, the match was alright as far as it lasted longer than I thought a Divas match would. But again, you find it hard to pick out any moments you thought were really astounding.
I just thought this match was just.
It was filler, wasn't it?
It was filler, but it was alright. But nothing good, but nothing bad.
And good to see that actually Paige and AJ won.
Yeah, we did call that one at least.
Which was surprising. But I thought they would because it worked for the title and obviously because it was a tag team match and just to give them a bit of sort of momentum. And if it had been for the title before, I reckon Nikki Bella would have won.
That's probably true.
But overall, I mean, it was a lot better than the matches they had on Raw, but it was nothing sort of WrestleMania.
It's just an average match, really.
Yeah, it weren't WrestleMania worthy.
One thing there was something that did annoy me was AJ Lee. I mean, she spent most of the time on outside face.
Yeah, she kept before getting knocked off the apron.
Yeah,
should he come in like at the last knockings, wasn't it?
But that sort of really bothered me. It's just like, I'm not going to knock you down, and you're like, she was just out there for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it wasn't as if
3 minutes.
She took a heavy, but she was just getting like nailed off the apron, which usually they get up from quite quick.
And she was just lying there thinking, oh god, that really hurt.
Yeah, which usually doesn't happen. They're usually back on the apron very quick.
Yeah. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, just to probably make Paige look better. Obviously, where
she didn't really look all that better. She looked like for the most part she was getting squashed.
Yeah, by Nikki Amber. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really don't get that.
No, it was confusing to watch. I don't know where they're going to go with because they didn't even really fall out over it, did they?
No, not really.
Which I thought at first was going to happen. I thought they were going to fall out, and sort of possibly set up a 4-way feud.
Yeah.
So I thought the Nikki and Brie, because didn't they hit each other in the ring as well, Nikki and Brie, if I remember right?
I think they did, yeah.
Which says to me that that's going to culminate soon with a feud.
Yeah.
Well, another feud.
great.
Because the other one got...
You can actually finish it this time.
The other one got swept under the carpet with no explanation.
But overall, just an average.
Yeah, there was nothing exciting about it.
Not really, no.
Good to see AJ using the Black Widow again, though.
That was the finish, wasn't it? She made a tap out.
Yeah, which we haven't seen properly for a while, with anyone tap out to it.
No.
So that was good to see.
So it was a decent finish, at least. Next match. The United States Championship, Rusev versus John Cena. Sorry about that, but where were we?
I know he had the sort of real American video, you know, the sort of Hulk Hogan-esque.
Oh, Cena's interesting, really, but he had that video montage, but...
for the like, American heroes.
Yeah, which is somewhat insulting to the American heroes.
Rusev's entrance was just brilliant, I thought, where he was in the tank and he had sort of Lana dressed up as sort of like a Russian sort of princess or queen or something.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
She looked great in it, though.
Yeah, it made Rusev look really intimidating.
Yeah.
And they had like the cannons, didn't they, on the end? The
cannons, the tank. So the tank looked like he barely fit in it.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't expect it.
No, it was nice. It was a nice touch.
Yeah. It was sort of a precursor, though. It made you think that was going to be it. That was the end of his. It made me think it was the end of his undefeated streak.
We knew going into this, Cena was going to win.
And
I think anyone with half a brain cell knew he was going to.
That reiterated it to me, that was his sort of final intimidating looking moment.
Yeah. The crowd chanted John Cena sucks in time with his music.
Yeah, I mean, to me it's another strange one, because obviously Rusev's meant to be like the far bigger monster heel than him.
Yeah, and this may be one time they won't do it.
A lot of the fans were cheering for Rusev.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that.
They were.
Which was quite shocking, because obviously Rusev's meant to be like sort of the pro-Russian sympathiser, and he's like, you know, hates America, and it's very rare that anyone like that in history has ever got cheered.
Yeah.
Which again brings you on to the new generation of fans.
Yeah.
They're going to like who they want and when they want.
I'm thinking this is going to be a recurring theme for Cena, because a lot more. It seems to be popping up a bit more where they're chanting along with this theme. So sort of like what Kurt Angle suffered.
And eventually Kurt Angle sort of embraced it, didn't he?
It did. I think he preferred it that way. And I think this is probably going to be the same way. Fans are going to keep on cheering John Cena sucks during his music until you say, like, you're going to fucking deal with it.
Yeah, and I must admit, though, I do hope that is the end of the John Cena-Rusev feud.
I'm just worried that they're going to have another match at Extreme Rules.
Because there's no need to now, because obviously Rusev's, you know, he's not undefeated anymore.
No.
And does that mean he's going to go the opposite way now? He's always going to lose for a long time. Is it going to sort of push him down far now? And they're going to bury his old...
It was just the main worry going into this is Cena going to bury Rusev, and frankly, yeah, I still think he's going to be buried because of it, because it's Cena.
The match was, overall, decent. I mean, let's face it, no one expected Cena to do the springboard Stone Cold Stunner.
That was a big surprise.
Yeah.
Where did he learn that trick?
Yeah, I mean, when he went to the springboard, I was expecting sort of an elbow or something like that.
Some elbow or some crossbody or something.
Yeah, not a bloody... And he caught it really well.
He caught it, and I was like, what the fuck was that?
So obviously he's been training.
He was like, that's my reaction when he did. I was like, what's this? Has Cena actually been training to learn some new moves? What?
I mean, it did look really impressive as well, and I knew for a fact they'd have to make a point in the match where he broke out of the accolade.
Well, like he did at Fastlane.
Yeah, I knew they'd have to put that in there again. They always have to put that in there to make him look, you know, ultra strong, don't they?
They got it. Cena gets the crowd. Good crowd's chance to hear. Let's go Cena sucks chance, which is fairly standard in any Cena match. At this
I mean
point.
that's been going on for years now.
Yeah. I know it's Lana has got a chant. Let's go Lana.
Yeah, I mean that's another one, isn't it? That she's meant to be like the dislikes for sort of heel manager, but everyone really likes her.
I can't imagine why they don't.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, she looks good, but
she's probably the best looking diva they've got on the roster.
But she's not meant to be liked, is she? She's meant to be sort of because she apparently hates America, although she's American. Oh no, sorry, she's Russian. Sorry.
No. In character, she's Russian. Yeah.
But Yeah, overall, I mean, I hope it doesn't make her sort of become a face manager or something like that.
Yeah, so not.
Because she works as far better as a heel in my book.
There was a spot where Rusev and Cena were exchanging fists with the crowd going, yay, boo, stuff like that, but only they were chanting yay for Rusev and boo for Cena. Which sort of devalues the whole purpose of this feud.
Yeah, it's meant to be sort of the American hero of Russia, isn't it?
They try to say, we hate Cena that much, we don't care if you're fighting for America here.
But, I mean, we thought he was going to win first, but I don't know, as soon as like Lana started getting involved, you knew that reiterated he was going to win. That, you know, as soon as she started getting involved, you knew it.
Yeah. There was a spot where Lana threw one of her high heels in the ring.
Yeah, which I still for the life of me can't understand where that came from.
Yeah, I just really don't get that.
Because nothing ever actually came of it.
No.
Because it wasn't if like Rusev used it or something.
Rusev executed a flying headbutt from the top turnbuckle, which was quite
quite reminiscent of, dare I say his name, Chris Benoit.
Don't mention him. You know that.
Yeah, it was something I don't think I've ever seen him do before.
I've never seen him go to the top rope before.
Which was, again, it was sort of, like we said about Seth Rollins, so he pulls out an iconic move at the main event.
Yeah, which was really nice to see. Rusev inadvertently knocks down Lana, which
we see coming.
And Cena gets the AI in him and pins him.
Because it's been sort of, it was noted before, wasn't it, where Lana hasn't been in his matches, where we all know it's really because she's shooting a movie.
Yeah.
But they were trying to say it's because like of what she did with giving him Cena the match and stuff like that. But obviously now it's going to be her that gets the blame for him losing.
Yeah. And this pretty much writes her off because we saw Rusev arguing with her as the match ended.
Yeah,
which is just a way to get her off TV.
Yeah, I mean it's quite hard to believe that they're actually a couple in real life as well, which they actually are.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
They are, yeah.
Because they look like a mismatch, don't they? But
looks like a mismatch, but I bet every woman's just there thinking, oh my God, you got someone like that?
Yeah.
You lucky bitch.
Yeah, well, I think it does sort of. I think they are going to break up for a while on camera now. I think
yeah. I wonder how they're going to bring Lana back into the story though when she's done.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Rusev for me, he's like, to me, he'd be perfect for being someone like Paul Heyman.
Rusev is a Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah, I think it could work.
That's an interesting concept.
He's got like the sort of stature, and he's got the credibility to probably be someone with it now.
And Paul Heyman would be a great talker for anybody.
I mean, you look at what I remember back when he was in NXT. I mean, he had Sylvester Lefort with him. So I don't know whether you saw that.
Yeah.
Which didn't really work because Sylvester Lefort was pretty rubbish. To be fair. But I think if he had sort of a strong spokesperson with him, like Lana's been, because someone like Paul could work. I know they won't do it, but to me it's an idea they could do.
It would be an interesting concept, but
just take away the Russian rubbish.
Yeah.
Because that's boring now. We've seen foreign sympathiser gimmicks in the past. Canada.
I'm just
Iraq.
They really try to shove the flat down that he's Russian. I'm just saying he's Bulgarian.
Yeah,
you made it a point to point out that he's Bulgarian when he first came up here.
Yeah, and he's got a big Bulgarian tattoo on his shoulder as well.
Yeah.
And the fact
so I don't think you're fooling anyone into thinking he's Russian.
And the whole nickname he had before of the Bulgarian Brute.
Yeah. Why can't they just acknowledge that you're Bulgarian?
And it does make me laugh when they still bring in the thing where, like, apparently he resides in Moscow.
Yeah.
I'm sure he flies over here every week.
I'm sure he does, yeah. But anyway, overall it was a decent match. What came out there? There's a segment between Triple H and The Rock.
Yeah, which was sort of unexpected, wasn't it?
Unexpected, but you knew going into this that they were only doing this just to stall for time.
Yeah, and obviously they had to give The Rock a moment in it.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think he appeared at last year's WrestleMania as well.
Triple H comes up basically gloating over his victory.
Yeah.
Which was just another insult to Sting, quite frankly.
Yeah, and to me, like I said, I still think this is all a big thing to lead up to a match between the two. Either maybe at WrestleMania next year or possibly at SummerSlam.
Probably, but do we really want to see The Rock and Triple H go at it again?
Yeah, I mean, it's not as if they haven't fought before. They had a few years ago.
A few years ago, they fought many times.
But I think it's that thing, isn't it, where they sort of become two icons of their generation, sort of thing, and it still generates a lot of excitement when they square off.
That's true. The Rock makes this big appearance to a huge pop that he always gets,
and brings in the UFC fighter.
Oh boy, that was quite an interesting.
Which, don't get me wrong, I didn't know a lot about it before, but I've read about it now. But
you don't really keep up with the UFC stuff.
No, I mean I used to, but since sort of like a lot of the people I used to watch have retired and stuff, it just doesn't seem worth it anymore.
Fair enough.
But I will when CM Punk finally starts fighting.
That will be interesting to watch.
But yeah, the fact where the woman's T-shirt gets more of a pop than sort of anything says they're bored already, doesn't it? You know.
I couldn't help but think that was the case. I'm sure a lot of the crowd were cheering for her, because I'm sure there were a lot of them that didn't know who she was. But I'm just thinking, I'm sure more than half that crowd is cheering for that Dragon Ball Z shirt that she's wearing.
It was a good plug for a Dragon Ball Z T-shirt.
Yeah.
You know, anyone like seeing Vegeta like in WrestleMania. Vegeta had a WrestleMania moment.
Of course, it had to be it's over 9,000 meme on that.
The old classic sort of quote.
Yeah. Well, that's what really bothered me. I'm sure it got more of a pop than she did.
Yeah, and is this like a poor ploy for them to set up a feud between her and Stephanie?
There's buzz about that already, but I think they're trying to. I know UFC are trying to debunk the fact that she's kind of concentrating on her next match.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe there's rumours going around she's going to maybe do some sort of work with her at WrestleMania 32.
Yeah. Which,
frankly, I know that she's meant to be a WWE fan also.
Yeah.
And if she were to make a jump to WWE, that she would probably really legitimise the
yeah,
the
it'd be
division.
interesting for him to bring in someone like sort of Brock Lesnar.
That's what she would be. She'd probably be like the female equivalent of Brock Lesnar, which would be really good to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting idea, and I think it might happen because obviously we're there trying to bring the divas into it more, or whatever. It could be like a monster to go into that division if she did ever come to WWE.
It would be a really credible one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea to go with. It's just it'd be interesting to see what they actually do with it.
Yeah.
Because it could be one of those things that either works or just fails miserably.
It's one or the other, but I don't see it failing, to be honest, given who she is.
No, I mean, she's well known as it is already, but then you've got the side that are saying that, you know, I know Brock Lesnar did it, but how many people can cross over from UFC into wrestling? There's not many that can pull it off.
Not many, but...
I hope she could, but it's I think it's got a mixed opinion. A lot of people would want it and a lot wouldn't.
Yeah, it's always that now. There was a spot where Stephanie was gloating about her family and all that, and you noticed I think there was the Shane O'Mac charm, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Speaking of Shane, so they haven't completely forgotten about him then.
Yeah, so is that an indication that he's going to come back on TV at some point in a unspecified role? You know.
I doubt it personally, but they were probably just there chanting that saying, acknowledge your brother, Stephanie. Acknowledge him.
Yeah, because it has been sad, but I mean, I did like it when he was in it full time. To be fair, he was always funny to watch.
Yeah.
And he was always entertaining, which is obviously what it's meant to be.
So overall,
I'd rather watch him on TV every week than Stephanie, to be honest.
I probably would too, to be fair.
Not to sound wrong in that.
No, but
to me, he's far.
He'd probably be more entertaining.
Yeah, he's far more entertaining than she is.
Yeah. So overall, this was a drawn-out segment, which ended up with The Rock assaulting Triple H and Ronda Rousey throwing him out the ring with a nice judo throw.
Yeah, which again adds fuel to the fire of a match between The Rock and Triple H.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but moving on, shall we? Because I think this segment was basically drawing out far too long anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
The next match was The Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt, which was one of the more talked about matches.
Yeah, I mean, it was another one, wasn't it? Which was built up for 2 or 3 months, and like it had an alright build up with like obviously Bray Wyatt, but he was doing it alone, wasn't he? Like the Undertaker.
That was the big problem. Yeah, Bray Wyatt was he did the best that he could, and he cuts to amazing promos as always, but that's all he can do.
Yeah, there's not much you can do when someone's not responding to him.
Yeah, and the Undertaker was made a response once, but even then he didn't even make an appearance.
Or where he set the chair on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I mean, again, the outcome of this match, which we'll come on to, was expected, but I didn't really understand why.
Yeah. It just made this whole thing just made no sense.
Why
was the Undertaker feud wanted to go up against Bray Wyatt in the first place?
I mean, it was worrying the fact that when you read before that the match might not take place because apparently Bray Wyatt was injured.
Yeah, he suffered an ankle injury during
which
the
I
war.
must admit I didn't notice during the match at all. I didn't really notice him.
I did spot a couple of points where he was limping.
So he was feeling.
It was noticeable once or twice, but it didn't look like it was. It didn't look like it was bothering
serious.
him. Yeah. So he did work around with it.
But, I mean, you had the usual spots that you expect from an Undertaker match, like he did old school.
Yeah.
Which I didn't think he would do.
I didn't think he'd pull off because we hadn't seen him do that in a couple of years.
But yeah, and he's still done it with relative ease, which was good to see.
Yeah.
The only thing I was quite disappointed with is I don't believe you saw him fly over the top rope like he normally
You
does.
didn't know, and I'm guessing.
And you normally see that.
You normally see that, but I'm guessing that he has just accepted that I cannot do that.
Because every time he does that, I always pop every time he does that.
It's always amazing to see someone of his size.
The amount of times he's done it, like over the years, like to Kane, and when he's done it to Vader and Mankind and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It always looks good.
It always did.
And I think he done it to like Shawn Michaels.
He did it to Michaels, Triple H.
It just always it's always one of those guaranteed reaction moves, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think he is just getting. He's 50 years old now, so I'm guessing maybe his body just cannot do it anymore.
And I must admit, I was very surprised that Bray Wyatt kicked out the tombstone the first time.
Yeah, the Undertaker's reaction to that was pretty funny.
Yeah, the Undertaker.
Oh my God! Did he just kick out on my finisher?
Yeah, the Undertaker sort of sold the reaction really well.
Yeah.
Which is quite hard to do, but he did sell it really well. That he was shocked that he kicked out of it. Because I mean, usually when that happens, they're done for and they're gone. And obviously, the Undertaker kicked out of Sister Abigail.
Yeah.
And it was one part of the match I liked was when Bray Wyatt was doing his signature walk on his
spider
hand, yeah. And then Undertaker sat up and just say, yeah.
That was quite iconic, yeah, just see them do this signature creepy moment.
Yeah, and like, I know Bray Wyatt is meant to be like the fearless sort of a cult follower, and even he would like look genuinely worried.
Just sits up to, bitch, please.
Yeah, like he looked genuinely worried, and you haven't seen that before.
No.
You know, when he's faced Cena and the Shield, he hasn't looked that genuinely intimidated.
Yeah.
But he did then.
Their entrances was somewhat lackluster a bit, weren't they?
Yeah, they were quite simple, weren't they, to be fair?
Yeah. Bray Wyatt had the scarecrows, which I honestly thought Sting would have gotten the scarecrows because it would have suited him more.
Yeah, I mean, I know Bray Wyatt's meant to have that sort of, you know, like follower peasant sort of, like, has like people under him, but why scarecrows? You know, it just seems.
The scarecrows were a nice touch, and then they started moving.
Yeah.
I thought, no, you just kill it. You kill any momentum the scarecrows
which
have.
I think was actually wrestlers dressed up as.
It probably was, but I don't know.
Because I know in Triple H's entrance, the people dressed up were some
NXT guys, yeah.
Which I don't think you really noticed at the time. But
no.
When you see backstage, it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, The Undertaker's entrance wasn't even that iconic either, was it really?
It's the same as usual, which is fine in itself, but I just felt it was hurt because it was still daylight, you know.
Yeah.
They said going into this, you know, is this really gonna affect it? And it did. It just did not look as menacing when it was still, when the sun was still out.
I mean, I preferred his entrances of years ago, like back in when he fought Kane at WrestleMania 14. I thought that was a more iconic entrance.
Yeah. Where were the Druids?
Yeah, I mean,
that's
the old thing you always expect to see at WrestleMania, isn't it?
I thought that would have been really intimidating to see. You see the Druids sort of locking eyes with Bray Wyatt's scarecrows. That would have been creepy.
Yeah, I mean, the feud itself was good, but then, like as we said before about the build-up beforehand, like the Undertaker never explained the reason to face him, did he?
No.
Sort of just,
Bray Wyatt just basically said, "Can we have a match?" All right then.
Yeah, whereas they had no genuine reason to fight.
No.
I mean, I know ages ago there was, I don't know if you see it, there was some picture someone posted, like, the real reason the feud happened, and it showed Michelle McCool in a promo with Husky Harris from, like, 2006-07 sort of time.
Really?
Yeah, which was but that's just people taking the mick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the reason?
That probably would have been more credible than what we got.
With WrestleMania matches, there's usually a reason. Obviously, like, you know, the people that want to beat the streak, but that wasn't there to be beat nowadays.
No.
Or like, say, Shawn Michaels, and he had the retirement on the line, and you know, Randy Orton wanted
there was nothing at stake in this match.
No, just like to be who was the more intimidating person.
Yeah.
And again, we were shocked. You know, not shocked, but. Why did the Undertaker win? You know,
we did call that right. We did say the Undertaker was going to win.
But you know, surely if Bray Wyatt would have won, it would have like made everyone take notice of who he is, sort of thing.
Someone was going to get hurt, regardless of who won. But Watching this match, I thought Bray Wyatt, Bray Wyatt was either going to get buried if The Undertaker won, or The Undertaker's credibility was going to hurt because, why would he come back just to lose a second time in a row?
Yeah.
But after the performance thing, because Undertaker, he looked really well this time
Yeah,
around.
he looked a lot better, I think.
He looked much better than he did last
year.
year.
Yeah.
He looked like he was...
Last year he looked really tired and
tired
didn't
and
he?
frail, and this one he looked really good for a 50-year-old man.
I think you could tell he had been preparing for the match before.
And he had hair.
Yeah, which was shocking.
That was really nice to see. He actually had hair. I did not like the bald Undertaker look.
Yeah, because part of it is sort of like I thought like he looked like he was like half and half of his personas. Like he looked half like the Dead Man persona and half like the American Badass persona. And I think that was done purposely.
That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did really look really good, and you've still got it apart from.
And I think Bray Wyatt proved a lot of doubters wrong in that match as well. I think he proved that to the people that still doubt what he can do, he can go with the best of them.
He can hold his own, yeah. So there was no doubt about that.
It gives me hope that he's got a long future in it.
Yeah. So watching this match, I think The Undertaker winning was probably the right choice because Bray Wyatt is gonna get his push is gonna get hurt a bit, but nowhere near as much because at least he can say I've had a match against The Undertaker.
Yeah,
that in itself would be incredible.
He's got years of his career left. Yeah, I mean, I was shocked to discover he's actually even younger than me, Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in the long run, it probably was sensible he lost because he's got longer to build himself back up.
Yeah. And he's got that on his list. He's an Undertaker match.
He's fought The Undertaker at WrestleMania, which not a lot of people can say.
I mean, if the streak was still there and Wyatt lost, that probably would have helped him even more.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, people that have fought The Undertaker at WrestleMania, 9 times out of 10, they've had good careers.
Some of the best matches, the best views they've had.
We'll discount the Giant Gonzalez at WrestleMania 9. But apart from that, most people that have faced him have gone on to have long careers.
Some of the best views and the best matches they've had were usually with The Undertaker. Batista was one of them, so that's probably one of his finest feuds. Was with
The Undertaker tends to sort of push people on to greatness, if you want. And he sort of, like I say, Brock Lesnar had a feud with him when he was sort of early on in the WWE.
Yeah, look how credible he became when.
Yeah, so again, if they do, it makes them more credible than if they didn't have a feud.
Yeah, so I don't think this is going to really hurt Wyatt in the long run, but.
No.
So I think that was the right choice.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I think that was about it. So that brings us to the main event: Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns.
Probably the most one-sided match I've ever seen in my life. Even more one-sided than the John Cena match, I'd say.
Very reminiscent of SummerSlam.
And now the new thing they've brought up with Suplex City, which is quite amusing.
Funny.
How many suplexes were in that match?
The crowd actually, Paul Heyman counted it along with the crowd, and they call up to 10.
Yeah, and again, Brock Lesnar was meant to be the major heel in the match.
And he gets more cheers than anyone.
Yeah, yet the crowd wanted him to destroy the face.
Yeah.
Which is quite shocking.
I thought it was quite amusing when Reigns came to the ring, obviously with the boos and stuff. But
he still
he had a lot of security guards with him.
Yeah, he still chose to come through the crowd, which was quite surprising. I thought he would have come out the main entrance for the first time. Because of the style of the arena. You'd
think that, but he had a lot of guards with him.
I think they were probably conscious of someone probably trying something.
That was probably it. It looked like fans. It did look like on the way down that they had to pull off a few fans
from sort of pulling him and pushing him and all that.
Because they knew going into this was a wrestling crowd.
And I think that was the people that had real fears that he was going to win.
Yeah.
Which everyone thought he was at first.
That's probably what we had him down to still win, despite Lesnar re-signing. I thought WWE were going to really stick to their guns and say, fuck you, we're having him win.
It's not very often that the face winner of Royal Rumble loses at WrestleMania.
It is not often, but
off the top of my head, I can't really remember it ever happening.
No, I don't actually remember the last time the champion actually retained.
Yeah, didn't the Miz retain at WrestleMania?
I don't know.
Thanks to The Rock, wasn't it?
It could have been, yeah.
Rock bottom Cena, didn't he? Which led to the feud between The Rock and Cena, if you remember.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, it's not very often that the hero face loses at WrestleMania, is it?
No.
Not very often at all. So I was surprised, you thought they were going to stick to it and let him win, despite the reaction.
Yeah. That was our prediction was that Roman Reigns was either going to win and Seth Rollins was going to cash in, which did actually happen.
We knew as soon as I was waiting for it, to be fair. So I didn't expect him to come down right away.
We didn't know when he was going
and
to,
actually
but we didn't know he was
inject
going
himself
to.
into the match, but
Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
I was either predicting that Reigns was going to win, then he was going to cash in after the match, or at the very most he was going to cash in the next night on Raw for the match then, and then take the belt off Reigns then.
Yeah, which probably would have got a good pop as well.
That probably would have got a big pop as well, but I think if Reigns walked out of WrestleMania the champion, I think the crowd would have actually rioted there.
Yeah, because I don't know if you actually noticed that there was actually a big cheer when Seth Rollins come down.
There's a huge pop because they knew instantly what he was going to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I was surprised. To me, it was a bit... The match in itself, the match was good with how much... I'll give Reigns his credit, he took a beating in that match.
Reigns did surprise me with how much of a beating he took.
And it was a good touch where he sort of kept getting up and laughing about it. That was a good sort of... I think that will put him over a little bit with the crowd.
Yeah, I think he did earn a bit of respect.
Yeah, I mean, he got absolutely pulverised more than what a lot of people do.
There was a bit
and he sold it well, you know what I mean? He sold the devastation well.
He did sell it well. And there was a bit at the start of the match where Heyman takes the mic and introduces Lesnar himself and probably gets one of the biggest pops of the night.
Yeah. But I mean, I thought overall when Rollins interfered and he made it a triple threat, after that moment I think it was quite poor because nothing much happened, did it?
No, it was
Rollins didn't take any
point.
hits at all, did he? He got set up for an F5 and got out of it. That was it. Then he just pretty much curb stomped him, and that was it. It was all over.
But you noticed it wasn't Lesnar he pinned; it was Reigns.
Yeah, which I think they made a point of that to make so Lesnar can still say that he never got pinned.
He never got pinned, and keep him as menacing
as he is.
Yeah, so none of his menacing aura diminishes.
It would have sort of lowered him a bit if Rollins would have pinned him, I think.
Yeah, so that
not
was
that that says Rollins is bad, but it just takes a bit more away from Lesnar than it would.
Yeah. What about the match? The match itself was quite good. The first 30 seconds, Lesnar lands a German suplex and an F5.
Yeah, I thought that was it. I've got to be quite honest with you. I thought that was it.
It looked like it, yeah. That maybe they were just going to have a very instant squash match and just pretty much
destroy Reigns.
Just destroy Reigns in less than a minute, and the crowd would have probably ate that up.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite surprised that they went with the thing. I mean, didn't Reigns kick out of like 2 F5s?
3 actually.
Three F5s.
F5 3 times, and he
which made it a bit more. I mean, I bet Brock Lesnar hated that.
Probably.
If he was honest, because I mean, years ago, no one kicked out that move.
No.
As soon as he landed that was it.
It was sort of diminishing because the fact we had the Undertaker who couldn't kick out of 3 F5s, and then we got Reigns doing it. It was like, no.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not buying this.
Another thing that's come out the last week or so since WrestleMania is the whole blade shenanigans. I don't know if you've read about that.
Yeah, because Lesnar started bleeding pretty much
straight away. Yeah, and then surely, Reigns didn't even land anything significant to make that happen, did he?
I think it might have been like Reigns may have inadvertently caught him in an awkward position, and then it just sort of cut him open.
The only thing that made him sort of bleed worse was when he got slammed into the post, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that did look quite genuine when his head got slammed into the
because it was not uncommon for wrestlers to blade before the match, so that way it wouldn't take very much to reopen the wounds.
Yeah.
So that's probably why the rumours about him blading was.
Yeah, so if that was true, I didn't notice it in the match if it did occur.
I don't think there's going to be truth because in the PG era, I do not see Vince McMahon agreeing to let Lesnar blade himself.
No, I don't see it.
I do think the times of blading are long gone.
Yeah, and with the history that Lesnar's had, I don't think he'd be that soft that he'd want to fake being cut because obviously where he's been battered and bruised in fucking UFC, God knows how many times.
Yeah.
God knows how many times he's been smashed around the head with a fist and he's bled. You know what
yeah.
I mean? So I
do not see that happening. So I think that was probably one of those.
Just internet rumours that sparked out of control. Sort of
Reigns probably did legitimately get a decent shot on him.
Yeah, but overall in the match, Reigns didn't do a lot, did he? I mean,
this was one-sided.
It said enough where the best part of the match for him was the beating he took.
Yeah.
And he took it well, but move-wise, all he really did was a couple of Superman punches.
Yeah, 3 Superman punches and 2 spears.
Yeah, which Lesnar kicked out. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's pretty much all you've got.
And that's all he really did, wasn't he? He didn't really do any meaningful suplexes or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it was virtually a squash match, I think.
Yeah.
Like it was on Cena.
Yeah, and that was probably the best booking decision.
Yeah, a squash match for once made the opponent look good because it made Reigns look good.
It made Reigns look good, so there was something to be gained from that. But at the same time, it was giving the fans what they wanted, and it was Lesnar beating the holy shit out of Reigns.
And I must admit, I was quite pleased with the way Reigns took the beating and still got up and kept going, and he weren't sort of taken out on a stretcher or something like they usually do.
So he did gain some respect in it, and they ultimately gave what they wanted.
Yeah, I think it did, in some ways, get him over with the crowd more.
Yeah.
To make him more of a sort of main event player sort of thing.
Mm. So we did call this one
not entirely right,
but we did see it coming.
We knew Rollins was going to cash in.
Yeah, but either way, we agreed Lesnar was not going to walk out with the title.
They are trying to say now that it was only decided. I don't know if you read that. They think it was only decided that was going to happen at the Rock and Triple H part in the ring.
Yeah, I think it's read that Seth Rollins only recently.
He only found out.
He only found out around at that time.
Yeah.
But the finish itself was planned for quite a while, so.
But people were predicting that months ago. I mean, I said it months ago that he would probably use it there. Where he was holding on to the case so long, you knew something big would happen.
Yeah, because he had to have used it sooner or later because
before July, wasn't it?
Yeah, otherwise. The time that would have expired.
With the controversy with Reigns, that was the perfect time to throw it in.
It was the perfect time, and I think they ultimately made the right choice.
Because I truly believe that what it is I think they accepted that they wouldn't let Reigns take the title off Lesnar.
No.
I think they're going to make it so they're going to feud, and it will culminate at a feud at SummerSlam between Reigns and Rollins.
Take the belt off him there.
And it'd be more believable that he beats Rollins for it, rather than him just beating, ruining.
Because at least that'll give him more time to try and get Reigns over with the crowd.
Yeah, I think that's my prediction for going forward. I think
give Reigns more time.
He's going to go up against Rollins at SummerSlam. I think that's going to be the SummerSlam main event.
That's probably going to be the case.
And, I'll be surprised if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I do see that happening. So, I think that's about it. Is there anything else you want to add?
I mean, overall, the event was exciting. It had different sort of things that made you go like, "Wow!" Say, although we hated it, the DX/NWO feud. Obviously the finish with Rollins and stuff like that, and the Cena Rusev with the whole entrance thing with the Undertaker Bray Wyatt was good, and The Rock and Triple H. It made you want more, but it was no way the best WrestleMania ever, but it's up there with some of the best, with the most exciting.
Yeah, they definitely made it a lot better. It was a lot better than it had any right to be.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be that good. I'll be honest.
No.
And I've got to add in there, the way it finished, I was glad because, I didn't really want Reigns to win it. I knew it wouldn't get the reaction they wanted.
I don't think anyone wanted Reigns to win.
It's nothing against him personally, but it's another example of sort of Cena, isn't it? You're being forced to like it.
Yeah, people were pretty much describing Reigns as Cena 2.0, and like, we do not want another Cena for another 10 years.
It's yet another one of someone who's not that great in the ring, and all that kind of thing. And it's just give people what they want. Don't force down them and then wonder why they react badly.
Exactly.
But overall, it was a really enjoyable event.
It was. It was definitely surprised me in a lot of ways.
Yeah, definitely 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'd say.
I'd say that's a fair example. Yeah.